Okay. This is going to be a short video. I've had a lot of anxiety attacks today. I have what's called GAD, general anxiety disorder, and I have PTSD um, from multiple encounters when I lived in Texas with crooked police, which I described in another video in one of them. I still have the police reports to prove it. I have the court records. I have the lawyer bills that we had to pay. I still owe my mom some money. We had to pay like $25,000. I was beat by police. I was arrested for having a beard like this because my neighbors said that I looked like a Muslim ISIS terrorist, and literally said I fit the Fox News description of an ISIS terrorist. And on my 25th birthday, over 25 cops in full SWAT gear, AR-15, shotguns, raided my apartment. I wasn't home. I was downtown at a festival. And I said all this in another video. But I lived on Ocean Drive in Corpus Christi, Texas. You can look up my record, Ian Athos, born 4/26/90, in Texas. I lived on Ocean Drive, and they had a carnival down there. And I was surrounded by police in front of the police station and was brought home to my apartment. And then they switched me into another car, would not tell me what I was arrested for, and then took me back to the police station, put me in jail. Then they transferred me to the county, Nueces County jail, and I spent the night in jail there, and I was harassed and beat. Like, they beat the shit out of me. And the next day, I didn't have to post bail or nothing. They just fucking let me go and said, we'll see you in court, and we're going to take your gun, which they did. They took all my guns that I owned at the time. And I'm still, here we are 5 years later in 2020, and I'm still trying to get my guns back. I have no charges from this arrest. I have nothing, like no charges. Everything was dropped and dismissed. It was all a bunch of bullshit. The same attorney that handled that case at that point, a couple years earlier in 2013, the same thing happened pretty much. And this is where shit got really bad. And I was working 2 full-time jobs, and I went to my second job. And from Monday to Thursday, I worked 70 hours, and I was so tired. And my second job told me that I could go home, take the night off. I went to the pizza parlor across the street, brand new restaurant that opened. It's B&J's Pizza and Brewery. It's a chain restaurant, but it was new to the area. I went over there to get food. They told me it'd be about an hour, hour and a half to get pizza. I mean, this was literally the first week they opened, so they were slam packed. And I fell asleep waiting for pizza, and I was arrested. And they found 0.02 grams of cannabis on me, beat the shit out of me. They made me sit inside the police car for 2.5 hours. They arrested me at like 7:30, 8 o'clock. I was in the police car until 11 o'clock. 10:30, 11 o'clock was when they booked me into jail. And they waited until I pissed myself. And then all night, they were calling me Mr. P Pants and like all sorts of shit, like just making fun of me. They fucking abused me. They made me stand up against the wall to get my picture taken, and there was literally blood. And fucking, they made me put my face on the blood. And so I have PTSD from being beat by police multiple times. It started in 2007 when I was 17, the first time I was arrested. I was walking with my brother home to from my friend's house to my mom's house. My dad kicked me out that night, and I was walking home, and I was arrested. We were pulled over walking, and they were asking where we were going. I told them my mom lives right down this road. I'm just coming from my friend's house, lives in the same neighborhood. And he started patting me down, searching me, and I told him, I was like, what are you doing? Like, I'm not doing anything wrong. And he searched me, and he took me to the back of the police car where there's no camera, and he found a pipe in my pocket. And he's like, you got anything else on you? And I said, yeah, I got a Swiss Army knife in my pocket. And he goes, okay, well, you pull it out. And I pulled it out and sat it on the car. And he goes, you just invaded a peace officer. And he started bashing my fucking head against the fucking trunk. And the cameras in Collinsville, Illinois, this is on record, Collinsville, Illinois, you could look it up. The cameras are in the front of the cars. And he beat the shit out of me. And Collinsville, Illinois is known for being very crooked. Very crooked. And then you go to East St. Louis, if you get pulled over and you have drugs on you, they'll either take half the drugs or they'll take all the drugs and they'll let you go. And they'll be like, here, you got a pound of weed on you. Give us half, you can go. Or, oh, okay, you got some coke on you. We're going to take all your coke, and you're lucky that you're not going to jail. But anyway, the moral of this video has nothing to do with that. I'm just saying I've had a bad day with anxiety. I've been getting really good. I haven't been on my medication for over a year now. I get 0.025 milligrams Xanax, and I haven't had that script filled actually in 3 years, since 2016, when I was 26 was the last time I had it filled, and I would get 30 a month, and I have not had them since. I've been doing really, really good, and I have panic attacks, usually on a daily basis, and then it became a weekly basis, and then now I've been really good. Like maybe once or twice a month, I'll have panic attacks, but when I do, it's for days in a row. And it started happening last night. I started getting really bad panic attacks, and today I woke up and had, feels like I'm having a heart attack. I've been to the ER before, but anyway, besides that, I'm just explaining why I have GAD. So when I'm president, and I'm putting it out there, I'm going to be president someday in this country. And if I'm not, so be it, but that's not going to happen. The universe is going to do what I say, and I'm saying it now, and I've been saying it since I was 5, 6 years old. And you can ask my mother, that I'm going to be president. And I've said this, it's something I've wanted to do my entire life. I don't care about the power. I don't care about the money. I don't care about anything like that, and just being able to get away with whatever the fuck I want. As we see, the president has no oversight anymore. I want to help people, and people that know me know what I've done with my life, and I've helped homeless people. I've helped people get jobs. You can ask friends of mine that were kicked out of their houses, or they became homeless, or they needed work. I've taken people off the streets. I've taken people off the streets I didn't even know. Like I care about people. I genuinely care about people. My goal is to help people, and I have the track record so far to prove it, and I have the track record that's going to keep building. And over the next couple of years, you guys are going to see my company blow up. And when I mean blow up, I don't mean implode and go bankrupt. I'm talking about it's going to be huge, and we're about to do so much shit. I've been working on it for 2.5 years. I've been getting everything registered and down and paperwork, and like putting all my ideas together. And what I'm doing is I'm starting a corporation, almost like an Amazon type thing, where I'm going to have a bunch of my different businesses and products under one big corporation, but with my different businesses and restaurants. And I'm going to be hiring a lot of people that I have worked with or came across and have helped. And the number one thing I'm doing first is building apartment complexes. They're going to be outside the city because land's cheaper, but I'm going to start here in Denver, and I'm going to go down to Texas and do the same. I'm going to go to St. Louis and do the same. Those are 3 areas I grew up in and were raised. I was born in California and LA in 90. I moved when we were 2. Like, my parents moved us during the Rodney King riots back to Illinois, Belleville, Illinois, Maryville, actually. Same, it's all the same area. But anyway, something that I've always said is the mind of a child is innocent. And this is true. Children are not born racist. They're not born to hate. They are taught to hate. They are taught to be racist. But the mind of a child is innocent, and they don't think of a selfish way. They don't work for money. They don't need money. They and now there are exceptions to this. There are people that are raised in very hard families, whether they're drug addicts or they're gangbangers. There are kids that are raised in these environments, and I mean, you can go on rap videos and you can see, little fucking kids, 2, 3 years old, or probably not 2 or 3, but like 4 or 5 years old, like bouncing around to like the worst lyrics of just negativity of kill him, shoot him, I'm a bury you. And then I've even seen videos where they put guns in kids' hands and they have the kids sitting there like waving a gun around, even though I'm sure it's unloaded. But they do. They have videos where there's kids like waving guns around, and they're like, I'm raising the next young, like they're raising the next generation of stupid morons. And those kids are lost. And it's sad because those kids are only doing what they're told to do and what they see. And what they see is how they will like raise and think and react. And um, we need to help the kids because the kids are the next generation. But I've always said, and I've said this for years, and the reason I'm doing this video is because I made a comment underneath a CNN news video on my Chronic Crypto account, because I don't, on this account, I don't go on YouTube and watch videos. I have my Chronic Crypto account, and there's multiple other Chronic Cryptos, and one of them is me. But my other YouTube account where I go through and watch videos and do my YouTube and listen to music is one of my Chronic Crypto accounts. And I was watching a CNN video, and I commented about something, and this YouTuber, I don't know how many videos he has. He doesn't have many subscribers like myself. Um, T Series. I don't know if you guys can see that, but T Series, I subscribed. He commented and said watch this, and it hit home with me because and you can ask my girlfriend, my mom, my brother, my cousins. I've been saying this for years: is that kids are innocent to a point, and they think about we. They don't think about me. So they're raised, depending on how they're raised, by a certain age is when they start drifting down either a bad side or to a good side. But most kids are, they're not born racist. They're not full of hate. They're not worried about money because most of the time, the majority of the time, their parents take care of them. So they're not worried about, I gotta get a job and I gotta rip people off or I gotta rob a bank or something. They have the mind of a child. They're innocent. And what we need is we need a group of children inside of every presidential administration. And so every time a president comes into office, they need to put out like applications to family members, and they need to pick kids of every race, every religion, and probably ages. I mean, 5 is a little too young, but I mean, you could do 5 to like 12. Because once you get into junior high and then high school, you become very, self-absorbed, and depending on who you hang out with and what you're doing, you might be a loving, caring person, or you just might follow the fads, and you're too manipulated. You see somebody say something, and you'll do what they say. You can be very easily manipulated, and this is what child molesters and stuff prey on. That's why they prey on young kids, because they can manipulate them into doing whatever they want, or even parents of kids, manipulating their children. So probably ages, 5 or 6 to like 12 max. Like 12 would have to be the max. By this time, your kids, they're hitting puberty, they're going through emotions. They're trying to be cool, they're trying to be liked, they're going to follow people instead of lead. But if we can take kids and put them in every administration, like 10 of them, and use them as advice council. And no, they won't be educated on everything that's going on, but they will tell you straight up what the most innocent thing is that you could do. Like, how do you guys feel about invading this country? What do you guys think? And they're like, well, what are we invading for? Oh, well, because of this. And then they will tell you straight up, like, that's stupid. Why can't we just work it out? Like, why can't you just call them and we could just talk it over and do something where everybody be? And we need that. We do. And this video, it hit home with me so much because this is something I've talked about for years. I mean, years and years I've been saying we need a kid council in the White House, inside of Congress. And these kids will have to, obviously, they won't be able to go to regular school, but they will get schooling through the White House or through Congress. And, their families will be taken care of. They'll be able to see their families. Their families will be taken care of, but the kids will work for the government. And this will help us out. First off, it's something crazy, and I know that, but it'll work, and I know it will work. Go talk to kids. All right, they're not fucking dumb. They see and they know what's going on. And you might act like, oh, you can do something around an 8-year-old and they don't know what's going on. My dad's ex-girlfriend's 8-year-old was smoking cigarettes because his mom and my dad smoked cigarettes, and he was stealing shit because my dad's ex-girlfriend was stealing shit, that his mom. And they know, they learn from us. And the shittier that we are as adults, the shittier the kids are. And we need to make sure that we treat them and raise them to be polite and correct. And I do it all the time. I'll see a family and they'll have their son or daughter open the door and hold it and say, "Thank you, sir," or, "Hey, I got you," or you hold the door open. They'll be like, "Thank you so much, sir. That was very polite." And I literally walked up to parents and said, "You were doing a good job. You're raising your kids right." And they'll be like, "Oh my God, thank you." There's not a lot of that anymore. There's a lot of rude kids out there that are just out of control. But I think we need this. I think it would help our country out a lot if we have kid panels. I mean, it could be 10, it could be 5, 10. I think 10 because you want people with different minds working for you. You don't want everyone to be yes men, and you want people with different ideas and different backgrounds of religion and color of their skin. And people, "Oh, that's fucking racist." No, it's not, because everybody thinks different. Everybody lives in a different neighborhood. Everybody's taught differently and sees things differently. And so, like, Muslim children raised with Muslim parents, they know the abuses and how they're like their culture is attacked and abused, because I would say 80 something percent of Muslims aren't these violent extremists. They don't follow the extreme side of the Quran. All right. Same thing with Christians. Most of the Christians do not follow the extreme side of the Bible. Okay. Read it. You think that everything in the Bible is true and correct? Possibly, but it's fucking bad. Same thing with the Quran, and same thing with every religion. Well, almost every religion. There's some peaceful religions out there, but well, I'm not going to get into religion. But we're talking about we need kids who are young enough and free thinking enough to not be controlled by adults or what they were told to do, or influenced by what they want to do, like being cool and fucking fitting in and stuff. And we could take these kids and use their knowledge and combine it with the knowledge of adults, because they don't understand everything. They don't understand the way taxes work and jobs and the economy and stuff like that. But they can give you a fact and be like, "Oh, well, why are we going to war with this country? It makes no sense. What's the problem?" Or like, "Why are we still using oil when it's the year 2020 and we can harvest the sun's energy and put it into batteries and everything can be ran off these It makes, they're innocent. They're not as dumb as people think or make them out to be. I love kids. I get scared of them because I'm afraid that, like, I'm afraid to babysit kids. I'm afraid to hold even like my cousin's sons, or like one of my family members or friends, like babies, because I'm afraid I'm gonna fuck up. I'm afraid I'm gonna drop them, hurt them. Like, I'm scared. I don't want that responsibility. Me and my girlfriend, we would love kids, but in this day and age, in this world, it's very hard to say it's the right thing to do to have a kid when there's tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of kids in foster care and that need adopted. And that is one thing that makes me mad about right wingers. All you motherfuckers talk about is pro life and you want to save the babies. As soon as that baby is born, you're done. Like, you'll bitch at a mother and, like, "You don't need an abortion and we'll help you out," and you talk them out of getting an abortion when they have no job, no money, or like it's infecting their health where they could die by giving birth. And as soon as that baby is born, you're like, "Okay, our job, we saved a soul, we're done. And let's cut funding to help those people. Let's cut CHIP. Let's cut, fucking food stamp programs. Let's cut children lunches and breakfast at schools and fuck them." Like, I mean, the Trump administration just got rid of the adoption. I can't remember the exact law, but it was money that goes to adoption centers to help pay and feed these children, and they got rid of it. And it was like, it's like $500 million less a year now, and that money can be used to help feed children that these people say they want to protect. And this is what I say to everyone that's pro-life: how many kids have you adopted? I say it all the time. Every time I see protesters, I'll walk up to them and I ask just one simple question: what do you want to save the babies? Yeah, we need to save the children. How many kids have you adopted? And I would say 99% of them either don't answer, or they flip it around and go, "How many have you adopted? How many of you?" They can't answer that. They get pissed off when they're called out on their bullshit because they're not adopting children. Or say, "How much money have you donated to foster care? How much money has your pro-life ass donated to foster care to help children that were born into a family and to a mother that's a drug addict, or to a mother who got killed, or died giving birth because she wasn't supposed to, or a family that just lost their jobs, got pregnant, and couldn't afford to take care of that child? How are they too young or were raped? Like, I mean, there are people that are raped and they're giving birth to babies that are rape babies, and they don't want that child. They don't want to look in the face of a child that they gave birth to because they were raped by a piece of shit. Would you? Would you want to get raped and then have to raise a rape baby? Like, yeah, it's your kid, but that wasn't your choice. And it's not like you were in love or even just had a fuck with some dude and had their kid. You were raped. Would you be able to look in that kid's face every day and love that kid? It'd be really hard. And it's not even the kid's fault. But there are tons of people in these foster care systems. And one of my buddy's parents, they are a foster home. And when we were growing up together, we would go over to his house, and I mean, they would have 12, 13, 14 kids living in a house. And those people need funding, and these kids need adopted. They want to have a happy life. So when you see anti-abortion people, ask them two simple questions. How many kids have you adopted, and how much money do you donate every year to foster care? And if you haven't adopted at least two children, or donate $10,000 a year or $5,000 a year to foster care, shut the fuck up. Shut up. You have no right to speak about pro-life. And then now, especially since you're all pro-choice, my body, my choice. If I want to get sick, I can. Shut the fuck up. But anyway, I'm gonna end the video here. Keep this short. I know I did a long one last night. I got some more that I want to talk about. And I don't even know where I'm at anymore. And my girlfriend, she watched a couple videos and she's like, "You're just all over the fucking place." And I'm like, "I know, I'm just rambling and talking." And so I'm gonna start keeping a list of my videos. Try to keep them 20 minutes a piece, possibly shorter, because I know not everybody wants to watch an hour and a fucking half long video. And I'm gonna be able to, all right, write down first thing I'm gonna talk about, boom, and then second thing, third thing, fourth, whatever. And I'll either make it one big video, and in the comment section, I'll comment below the time frames, like, okay, at 0 to 10 minutes, I'm talking about this. At 10 minutes to 20, I'm talking about this. At 20 to 30, I'm talking about this, and do it that way. Or I'll just make more videos, but about one subject. And so I'll say, okay, we're going to talk about abortion, and make one video about abortion for 10, 15, 20 minutes, end it, and then, okay, now I'm going to talk about this, make another video for 10, 15, 20 minutes. Because I know I know I'm all over the place, and I'll say I'm going to do a video on this and the title, and then I ramble on, like at the start of this, about my anxiety and why I have PTSD and was diagnosed, and have GAD, general anxiety disorder, and was diagnosed. But regardless of that, we do need kid councils. This guy did a great compilation of an interview with a bunch of kids watching Donald Trump rallies and speeches, like in campaigned in 2016, and the reactions are flawless. Like, they see right through. They're like, this dude's a fucking retard. Now you got to think, these are free thinking kids. They're not the kids raised up in this Christian extreme cultist type evangelical agenda, where there was videos of kids online going, "I love Donald Trump," and they're crying, and the parents are like, "Yeah," or the kids protesting just this past week, holding up signs, fucking about protesting nurses and stuff, and like, let us get haircuts and let us open. Those kids are being forced to think in a certain way, and by the time they're 15, they're done. They're gone. I wasn't raised in a political family between my mom and dad. Now my uncle, my dad's brother, he's big into politics, and he hangs out with Marco Rubio. He hangs out with other politicians. He goes to different inaugural dinners. Like, he was there for Obama. I think he was there for Trump. I think he was there for Bush. He's big into politics. My family wasn't like that. I was raised to think free. And in junior high, we did a thing where our civics teacher had us do a report on the presidential election. This was George Bush, I believe, versus Al Gore. I cannot remember exactly, but it was George Bush versus whoever. And there was people in our class that were so brainwashed that they were told, and it'd be like, why do you like this person? Be like, my mom and dad, like, we're Republicans to the death of us. These people were poor as fuck. I know this because they would like look at the shit I was wearing and my shoes and stuff and be like, how the fuck did you get that? I'm like, well, my dad's a leading in the computer world. He's a computer tech. I mean, this is like the early 2000s. My dad was one of the top computer guys in the Midwest, and my mom's a nurse, and their parents were not college educated and working at restaurants or fucking like just little jobs, but yet they were so brainwashed that their kid was like, we're Republicans, yeah. Republicans don't do shit for the people. They do not care. Like they don't care. That's why red states are the poorest states in the country. And people go, oh, look at Illinois and California and stuff. Yeah, I mean they're not the best, but look at Colorado. All right, look at Colorado. It's a blue state. We have the number one economy in the country. We have the highest wages in the country. What did we do? We legalized cannabis, and we started taxing that shit. Crime went down. Denver just decriminalized mushrooms. The arrest for mushrooms has gone down. That crime rate has gone down because it's fucking nobody's out there. And no, and you know what? And people are like, oh, everybody's gonna be tripping balls and killing everybody. It's been almost fucking a year now. Like a year since mushrooms have been decriminalized in Denver, and there is no stories about people running the streets naked with guns and blasting people and burning shit down. It doesn't happen. I used to grow mushrooms. I used to eat mushrooms all the time. Like when I was in high school, I was a big mushroom head, and in my fucking mid-20s, I loved mushrooms. Now I'll tell you what, that shit's spiritual as fuck. You eat yourself an eighth bag and go out in the fucking woods, and you come back and tell me that you hate everybody and hate religions. You're a fucking dumbass. But I'm gonna leave that there. I think we need kid councils. This guy did an awesome compilation video, and I suggest you check it out. I don't think he has any more content on his channel. I don't know, but again, it's T series, just capital T space capital S and then ERIES T series. Great compilation of kids on giving their thoughts on Trump in 2016 after watching him speak, and they're like, "This dude's fucking retarded." Like they see it because they are free thinking, and that's what we need in this country. And the more that we keep going down this partisan fucking bullshit and everybody has their own political agenda or their own personal agenda, the more that this country is going to go down the shitter. And I think we're going to see a second civil war in the next couple years, especially if Trump loses this November. I'd be very surprised if it didn't happen when they remove him from office in January. I don't think he's going to leave willingly. But fucking just be prepared. That's it. Have a good night, go. Peace.